Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Dr. Dawn Michael, and today's topic is mental lubrication stimulates better sex. So, what do I mean by this? Well, there's a lot to this statement, and it really means that your head up here has to be into the game in order for everything to work down there. And that's with both men and women. If your brain isn't into it, then the sex is not going to be as fun, it's not going to be as connective, it's not going to be as stimulating, and sometimes it's not going to work at all. And so being mentally prepared to have sex with the person that you're with is part of the fun of having sex, and it's part of the connection that you're going to end up having with your partner. Now, you can still have sex without the mental connection or the mental stimulation, but it's definitely not as good. And once you've had that connected sex with your partner, and perhaps you know what it feels like, or your partner knows what it feels like, when you don't have it, there is definitely something missing from the sexual situation. So that's one aspect of mental lubrication. The other aspect is turning your mind on. So lighting up your mind with thoughts that turn you on. It could be with the person you're with, hopefully. If you have problems sometimes getting mentally turned on, you can think about other things that turn you on and then become present in the situation. I know sometimes with women, they have this particular problem. And for women, if their mind is not mentally into it, they're not able to have really good orgasms. Sometimes they're not able to get lubricated themselves. And for men, they are not able to get that vital blood flow to have an erection. Now, of course, women have erectile tissue as well, so they also need to have that blood flow in order to have pleasurable sex instead of painful sex. So if you are a woman listening to this, then I would definitely say if you're experiencing dryness or you're experiencing painful sex, you really might want to think about how you can get more aroused. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not aroused to your partner. It could mean that you have too many things on your mind. Maybe you're a young parent, maybe you are obsessing about something, maybe you're angry at your partner. That's a huge thing for women. I often tell this to both men and women when couples come into my office. One of the things that really can make it so that a woman does not want to sleep with her husband is that she's harboring anger, resentment towards him, and she's just not able to get past that and get aroused by her husband anymore or the situation. And so that's where communication comes into play, and that's where you really need to sit down and talk about some of the problems you may be having and resolve those issues. Because if that goes on for too long, it could definitely hurt the relationship, the sexual relationship, and it can also really shut down desire and thoughts of being intimate, because there's a sense of fight or flight to anger, so that you don't get the proper blood flow, so it's transferred somewhere else, so there's anxiety involved in it. And I see that a lot when I'm counseling couples, especially when women begin to really feel that loss of desire, passion towards their spouse. There's some underlying anger and resentment issues that usually will bubble to the surface, and once we work those out, the relationship could get back on track. Now, for men, you could be experiencing stress at work. You could be experiencing feelings of boredom, because that happens too for both men and women in a relationship. And that's where the two of you can also use this mental lubricant, which is super important. So you begin to stimulate each other's minds and get the mind into a more passionate state, a more romantic state, where it starts in your brain and you can either talk about fantasies together or something that you want to do to one another in a playful sexual way. You can do it when you're in the bed together, or you could do it over dinner. But it's really important that you continue to use your brain to stimulate your body, because once that's disconnected, it really doesn't function properly. And a lot of people that have some type of a depression, which can also look like anger, so sometimes depression can look like anger, that also is going to impede these sexual thoughts, these intimate thoughts, these mental stimulating thoughts. So make sure to check with yourself to see if you've been down or angry or stressed or anxiety, because that can all take away from having a very intimate, wonderful sexual experience. If it's the home atmosphere, sometimes just getting away from the home and having a weekend together where you can talk about things, explore each other's bodies, and get back in touch with each other is super important. It's also important that you stay connected with your spouse or your partner, and that's just not physical, that's that mental connection. And sometimes couples forget to do that. They forget to check in with each other, they forget to say I love you, they forget to compliment one another, they forget to do all of those things when they started dating, and so you don't get excited about being with that person. And in fact, men can have resentment too, because if they feel like they had a great sex life with their wife before, maybe children, or it's just the relationship, it's been going on for a while, you guys have been together for a long time, and you just feel frustrated because perhaps your wife doesn't want to have sex or she's not initiating. So that's where getting her mentally stimulated and the two of you talking about sex again and doing things that are pleasing for each other is super important. And if you want to have a whole body function, you really do need to mentally prepare yourself, because sometimes our bodies can take over, but really as we age, it doesn't happen as often. It's not like in your 20s where you could just get turned on by anything. As you get older, there's more stuff that goes on in your mind, and there's stuff that goes on in your body where the two of them, if they're not connected, it's just not going to happen. And so I want you to keep this in mind the next time you're frustrated or the next time that you're wondering what happened to your sex life, and really check in with yourself and say, hey, how am I viewing sex? Am I viewing it as something that I'm frustrated because I'm not having with my wife, or that I'm so stressed out that I can't mentally get into it? And just take the time to check in with yourself and figure out how you can get your mind stimulated again. And if you're a man watching this and you want to have your wife get stimulated again, have her watch this video as well, because I know that I have a predominantly male audience. I'm starting to get more women audience, but it's really important that maybe you share some of these videos with her so that the two of you can be on the same page. All right, I will be back with some more interesting videos and information for you, but keep that mental lubrication going so that the rest of your body can be lubricated as well, and you can have fantastic, enjoyable sex. As you know, I believe everyone deserves to have a healthy sex life, and so do you. Have a great day.